person. Welcome to the beginning of this week's vlog. So last week's vlog was up late, was really short. And I would just be prepared for that to be normal. I want to do a lot of things and I only have a certain amount of time because I don't want to be tired and crazy. And I also want to try and fit in somewhere in my days to work out. Then I have the dilemma of I want to spend more time with my husband and I want to sleep. Oh, I slept. Dang it, I missed that Christmas. I mean, not Christmas, Halloween decoration. I went to sleep. I have work. So we'll see what happens with that. But so it's Sunday. The 7th, right? Yes. Sunday, November 7th, day 7 of Nano. So Friday I didn't go to work. And I thought maybe I would stream. And then I got home and I was trying to upload videos. That's what I was doing. Yes. I'm like, what was I doing? I was trying to upload videos and did that. And then I just didn't feel like it. Honestly, I didn't feel like it. And I think because in my brain, I've worked out almost the whole end of the book. Like from where I'm at right now to the actual end scene, it's all laid out in my brain. I have it, I guess, outlined in my brain. I know exactly what I'm going to write, pretty much. So I feel like part of my brain is like, oh, the book is done, even though it's not actually done. And my brain has moved on to the next project. And I'm slightly obsessing about my sci-fi romance, which I am going to dub because I don't have a title for it because it's still so very rough in my brain. I'm going to dub it Project Sci-Fi Romance because I do have another story that's sci-fi, that's like a sci-fi fantasy kind of thing, that I'm going to have dubbed Project Sci-Fi Mythology, which has had a small like apartment rent space in my brain throughout this book. It's kind of just chilling out, paying rent in like a 1-bedroom studio in the back of my head, while I was writing The Princess and the Warrior, or Project Elf. And I occasionally take a break and do a bunch of research on some mythology stuff, and then go back to just writing Princess and the Warrior. But the sci-fi romance, Project Sci-Fi Romance 1, is a whole idea I have for a romance sci-fi series. It originally, and I've mentioned it before in past vlogs, especially when I had the like brainwave, where I initially wanted to make it a contemporary. I kind of got inspired in the middle of the pandemic for the series idea, and because I was listening to, I think one of my booktubers talk about like medical romances, and then I was thinking about people about soap operas, medical soap, or no, I remember what it was. It was Dr. Mike, I think. He has a YouTube channel. I'll link him somewhere. He was rating the realisticness of medical dramas. And it made me realize, because I grew up watching MASH. I really didn't watch a lot of soap operas. My mom wasn't really into a lot of soap operas, and if she was, they were like old ones. They weren't like the ones that were coming out in the 90s and like the early 2000s. So I was listening to Dr. Mike rate these shows. Most of them I had either barely heard any reference to. None of them I had really ever watched. I think I had honestly watched one episode of Grey's Anatomy. And I might be wrong. It may have not even been Grey's Anatomy that I watched. But I do remember watching some medical drama with my mom once because I don't think there was anything else on TV that day, and I think I was sick, or maybe it was the summer. I don't even remember. I just remember watching one episode, and it was like super spicy because some lady had a baby. Some white lady had no, it was a black lady who had a baby. Her husband was black. The baby came out white, and it was a mistake because they had artificially inseminated her. And, they accidentally put someone else's egg in. It was something like that. And then somebody's son had his first wet dream, and he thought he had cancer or something like that. Or maybe it was even 2 episodes. I don't know if that was enough for one episode or not. But that was the only episode I remember of Grey's Anatomy, or whatever the hell it is I watched. If you remember this reference and know if it was Grey's Anatomy or not, tell me down below, just so that I have a reference for this one vague memory I have. But it made me realize that so much of medical dramas are inaccurate for so many different reasons. Even MASH, I've slightly rewatched it with my dad, and then I occasionally watch other episodes. And I think it's Hulu that has the like uncut versions of the show, or sneak peek or something like that. My dad says so. He had started like rewatching all of it, and even then, some of their stuff is not very accurate, or not like correct. Though I have to say they take place further in the past and during war. So sometimes I'm like, well, maybe back then they just didn't know, because it can be very realistic. You know, in a year, in 2 years, medical advances jump like 5 years in reality. Like it takes us 5 years to get to a certain point, but in the medical world, 1 year could equal 5 years in some advancement. So it made me think, and then I looked up books, medical books. So I was like, I wonder, because I also had started finding spicy talk on TikTok, and one of my booktuber people that I had started watching literally just because I was wanting unboxing videos, but she also was doing YA reviews and stuff, had started shifting to adult books, and then she also started shifting to adult romance, and that's pretty much where she's at now. She's primarily adult romance booktuber now, and I think she had read some medical books, medical romance books, and I was just like, I know what people think, or what they envision the hospital dynamic is with staff. And when you think of a hospital or a medical facility, it's always doctors and nurses, and that's really it. You don't really think about everybody else that makes the hospital work. Without everyone else, the hospital wouldn't function the way you think it would. So I looked up some books because I was curious, and they are, for the most part, the ones that I honestly will say I did not look in too much detail, and feel free to give me recommendations. I am saying that I have the caveat of I might not even read them, but you can let me know for even research based. But I decided, what about if I made a romance series, or at least structured out the idea for a romance series, that was realistic to a certain degree, because it's still fiction, but was realistic. The dynamics were realistic. The stakes were realistic. You know, I've worked in every department in my hospital, even if it was just one shift. And I work in one of the more acute care settings where people are actually more sicker. So I have a very interesting viewpoint. So I was like, let's do this. Let's do this. And I didn't know where to go off from that. And Lainey from Ginger Reads Laney had around the same time had suggested when she was stuck on something, a website called Trope TV, I think it is what it is. Again, I'll link it down below too, where you can just look up tropes. And I did, I kind of was just looking up things and I saw two things. One is actually a favorite of mine, and the other one is not something I always enjoy, and I'll explain when we get there. So I saw Marriage of Convenience, and I was like, And when I looked at it, there was like suggestions for like Marriage of Convenience for the classic reasons, but there was one thing that triggered my mind, and I was like, common law marriage, where if you live together with a person, and usually this is like two people that are dating, that are just been boyfriend and girlfriend for like 100 million years. And, at this point, they've been together so long and something happens and they're like, well, why don't we, what, for all intents and purposes, we're married. In certain states, still, no, there's not that many anymore, but there are still certain states that do approve that, where it's like, well, you know what, this couple has been together for a bajillion years, so you know what, they're married. It's fine. Common law. And usually, it sounds like a lot of people do this for tax reasons, but they don't actually want to like go through the whole marriage process, even though there's a whole other process that I did read a little bit that I did. So I was like, okay, let's do that. And then I continued to just shift through because I was just like, how else could I do this besides like it would end up becoming like I have to figure out how or why do I do this, like marriage of convenience kind of thing. How does this work? And then I saw the preface, the marriage of convenience is my favorite trope in this thing. I love it, especially when it's tied to fake dating or fake relationship, when two couples are like, well, let's just pretend, and then by the end it's like, oh well, actually I do love you, and then happily ever after everyone is together and fucking. But I felt like I needed one more thing to make this story make sense. And I was like, why not make it spicier and add in friends lovers? Now, friends lovers is the trope that I don't really like. And there's really one big reason that I don't like this. It plays on the fact that a man and a woman cannot be friends and not want to be with each other. That men and women only can be in a sexual relationship or romantic relationship. And I don't like that. As a girl who grew up and didn't always get along with other girls, but was straight, and I had a lot of guy friends, to the point where my dad didn't like me telling people that I had a lot of guy friends, because he was worried that people would think that I was, especially as I was getting older, like in high school, that people would think I was cheap or that I was easy, or that I was having sex with people when I wasn't, because they were all just my friends. There was occasionally a couple times when my guy friends brought in other guy friends into like our group that I did think was cute. And there usually was like this weird dynamic where like you weren't originally part of our group, but you now are, and I kind of have a crush on you, but you're my friend's friend. And none of those ever actually worked. And I did cross that line once where I did date a friend, and it ruined everything. It ruined everything and kind of hurt this particular friend group, because I had a couple of different guy friend groups. One that was like friends from when I first started school in 4th grade, and then I had a friend group that was older, that was really like a core group based off of randomness, honestly. That was the group that kind of got ruined. I guess when you think about it, there wasn't really much holiness together. But my core friend group is we're still really close, especially one guy in particular who I consider my brother, who my husband questioned a little bit, but then he realized how we interacted with each other was actually like brother and sister. And when I did tell him we did attempt to date, because my mom was convinced that we were going to get married in the future, because again, the whole idea of girls and guys cannot be friends. And our friends kind of pushed it because I had broken up with somebody. And we were in eighth grade, seventh grade, something like that. And we went on one school date. We went to a school dance together. And we actually just acted the same way we always would. And then someone was like, oh, you should try to kiss, blah, blah, blah. And we tried, and it was gross. It was horrible. It felt weird. It was, yeah, that's when we decided, nope, we're done. We're done with this. We break up now. We're friends again. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So that's really why I don't like this trope, because I don't like the fact that it says that men and women can't be friends when I know that you can. And you just shouldn't expect your friends to be willing to just have sex with you. Like, it's weird. Though I do know there's those relationships. And I know that now that people are more open about their sexuality, a lot of people are friends with like gay friends. But I'm talking about two straight people. We are two straight people. Me and my best friend. He's straight and I'm straight. And it just was weird because we literally just see each other as brother and sister. And that's what we call each other, was brother and sister. But I decided this would work. It would work because I wanted to preface on a different idea. The idea that some friends make where they say, oh, if we're not married when we're 40, 35, whatever it is, arbitrary age you say when you're younger, if we're not married in set amount of years and we're living by ourselves, let's make the promise that we'll get married. And that way we won't die alone. I wanted to kind of hinge slightly on that idea. So what ended up forming was this idea of two friends who are living together. They're childhood friends. They've been together for a really long time. They both work at the hospital. The main character does my job. She's a nurse's assistant. And I'm going to try really hard to not make this a self-insert. And I realize my dilemma, but I also like the dynamic. So the female character is a nurse's assistant, and the male character is a housekeeper, which is exactly what me and my husband are. And again, like I just said, I'm going to try and make sure it's not a self-insert because I don't want it to be. It was just the first thought that popped in my head, because the other idea behind wanting to do this series is I don't want to do a classic doctor and nurse. And maybe one day I will, but right now I want to stay away from it as much as possible, because all the other books are that. They're all about doctors and their patients, or doctors and nurses, or doctors and doctors. And I'm like, there are more people in the hospital besides that. Highlight every type of job that's in the hospital that is not really talked about in culture in general. So besides, I'm talking about nurse assistants and housekeepers. Who usually cares about a housekeeper? But without a housekeeper, the hospital would literally fall apart, honestly. So I want to talk about that. I want to do a story arc, physical therapists, respiratory therapists, security, the food, laundry, administration, other versions of doctors like nurse practitioners, maybe having temporary nurses, which would be travel nurses for us. I want to reference this actual huge economy that's within the medical field at this space station. And that's why I decided, and I said I want this to be a romance series, because I can play on this and do the whole thing that a lot of romances are doing, which I actually really like, where you have two characters. Maybe you meet someone in book one, and then the second book, is its own book, but it takes that character you met or someone you referenced from book one, and they're in book 2 and 3 and 4 and whatever. I want to do that. And I want it all to revolve around the space station. And I think it would be amazing because A, I can still do a lot of my own rules, but B, I can follow a lot of actual medical practices. And if I don't like something, I can fudge a little bit because it's the future. But on Friday, because this thing, and I made a comment on Twitter that I said the sci-fi romance project literally lives on a continent, and that's why. I have so many ideas. I have so many tropes. I already have I think 3 more book ideas, either in a Google Doc, on Google Notes, somewhere in my phone, in the computer, that I probably will have to compile at some point, that I could go for after this first one, after Project Sci-Fi Romance 1. That I've decided that unlike Project Sci-Fi Myth, who is living in a cute little 1-bedroom apartment paying rent in my brain, where I occasionally come and visit it and give it some more research and then close the door and then say I'll come back later. This Project Sci-Fi Romance literally has its own continent. It is its own country. It forget about paying rent. It just owns the whole part of my brain. And it just lives there and literally takes over time spans in my brain. When I'm not thinking about the Princess and the Warrior, I'm probably thinking about this, mostly because it is going to be my next project. So my brain feels like Princess and the Warrior is over. So I was been thinking about the first book in the Project Sci-Fi Romance. I was thinking about doing this on Thursday, held myself off and didn't. Friday, I was like, F this. I don't want to watch anybody. I don't want to listen to anybody, even though there was some vlogs that had come up that I wanted to catch up on. And I was like, no. I need to get whatever this first chapter or first few paragraphs, whatever it is that's in my head, out. It just needs to evacuate my brain and get put down on paper. But I'm driving. I was literally on my way to pick up my mom. I was like, what? I've been wanting to try the Otter app. This is this perfect time to do it, which I got recommended in a video and a stream from the Courtney Project. So I did. I went really quick to my wish list when I was at a stop sign, downloaded it, opened it, and I hadn't looked at the document. I'm sure it's kind of a mess. I'm going to read it and be like, what the hell was I talking about? Because I did look a little bit a couple times and it did not understand everything I was saying. But I did. I want to say a chapter at least. I just vomited it out, almost literally, into the app and sent to myself. And actually, I felt better. It was one of those weird things where I literally just needed to do the thing to feel better. I did that on Friday. There was that. And then I worked Saturday. And I did do a little bit of curious thought process on Aztec mythology, which is a slight reference to Project Sci-Fi Mythology, but not necessarily for the first book. If that also becomes a series, I have or a loose-ish series. I have ideas, so I want to expand. And I've gotten to this point in my life where I want to learn more about my heritage, but not my Mexican heritage, about my pure heritage. I want to learn more about the Aztec people. I want to put some stuff in my book, but I want to be educated. So I have talked about this before, where I'm reading an Aztec mythology book to learn about gods, which has to do with my book. And my loose-ish series reference, whatever, that I would do with that as well. But that's 2 books away, which is why I'm not trying to quickly read through this nonfiction book. Now, Sunday, I got out of bed late. I've had a weird breakfast. I'm still kind of eating it. I'm going to stream at 9 today. I now have been talking for a really long time, so I might not actually stream early. I was thinking about going on early because it is a Twitch stream, and I didn't play any games on Thursday when I was supposed to. And Sims just came out with their new Sims. What is it called? Scenarios. The Sims 4 has their new scenarios, and they have a toddler challenge, which I have done before I started doing gaming videos. I did the 7 toddler challenge, and I decided to torture myself longer by doing the 7 toddler beyond challenge, I think is what I called it for myself. It was the first thing I shared on the gallery before going live with videos, where I did the 7 toddler challenge. And then I was like, how about this single mom continue to try and raise these kids on her own? Yeah, that's what I did. And I made money a factor after everyone became a child. So that was interesting because as in James Turner's 7 toddler challenge, money is not an issue. You can treat yourself money all you want. You can have nannies and butlers and everything. And I kind of followed the rules for that. But then the moment I decided I wanted to continue and see if a single mom could raise the 7 kids, I was into like adulthood. I was like, we need to have money. So I was thinking if I did go live, I don't know if I want to play any of my things, but then I realized, why don't I just do like the 3 toddler challenge thing that they have on there, so I can test out the scenarios, and in theory it should be something really quick. So yeah, why not? But I don't know if I'm gonna do that because I want to edit a video today before I go live. Because at minimum, I need to go live to writing sprints. But again, I was thinking about taking advantage of the time because I don't feel like filming besides this. Especially because I realized I wanted to film things, and I still need to film a tag, which I might just do some point during the week at my parents' house. Because I already answered the questions. I do want to film like a Thanksgiving tag for it to maybe go out on Thanksgiving. But I probably shouldn't film anything else because I don't have a lot of time. I have a vlogs coming up Monday. I have the videos on the second channel going up Saturday. Not that that impacts this channel, but my idea is like I already have something slotted for Saturday, and then I have a gaming video coming out Sunday. Ideally, that is my ideal schedule. And I'm like, that doesn't leave a lot of room for another video. Plus, it's like a 4th video for me to deal with. I'm like, no, why don't I just wait to film the tag video I was tagged in? It's already been like a month. I'm late. I'm sorry, Moon. But I'm like, you know what? I'll get to it in December when I'm going back to like my twice a month vlog. That way I have like a vlog video and then a regular video, and then vlog video, regular video. And that should be easier for me to deal with because I already have 2 extra things I need to do this month. I want to do the Thanksgiving tag and the little short videos that I do for the sticker unboxing. I have to do December's. I have the stickers with me. I'm just not ready to open them because they're penguins and I love penguins. So yeah, I think I'm not, and be kind to myself. That's the point of this month. It's written in the planner. Be kind to yourself. I'm not going to overwhelm myself with videos. And Sunday, again, is like the suggestion. If I don't get the gaming video, I don't. But I need to make sure I try to be on top of the vlogs, and they at least go at some time on Friday, even if it's not Friday morning like I want. And that I want to be consistent on publishing on my second channel for the VODs, which will then help me be consistent with streaming. And either way, I want to be consistent with streaming because I am so close on Twitch to being affiliated. And again, if you want to, my links are down below. You can come watch me, even if you just have the video up and you're not paying attention to me. But I'm doing sprints there, but you can come follow me. Yeah, I really just need follows and people chatting in the stream is what I need. Those are my 2 last check marks. I'm at like 38 followers and I need 50. So I need 12. Wait, yeah, math. So I'm so close. But yeah, that's it. That's it for now. I need to go. I've been talking for a really long time. This is not all going to the blog. Alright, I'll see you guys whenever I get something else to say. Okay, bye. Hey guys. So it is Tuesday, November 9th. And I'm driving back to my parents' house, dropping off my mom, picking up something for my dad. I was debating about doing a clip today, and then I was waiting for traffic because they're doing construction to right in the road. This guy, he holds up the like stop and slow signs. He's so funny. He takes his job so fucking seriously. It's adorable and hilarious. It's perfect. So like it was time for us to go, so he flipped the sign around so that it said slow for us to go, and he's like pointing at the sign and pointing at the ground, like to let us know, like, okay, go, you can go, but you have to go slow. And I don't know, it's funny. Maybe I'll see if I can get a clip of him at some point to put in the vlog, whether it's in the morning or not. Because even the way like he says to go when you're going in the opposite direction, I don't know, it's just his body. It's hilarious. I don't know. It's adorable. But I did not turn the camera on just for that. So as it is Tuesday, it is my husband's weekend. Question mark of am I going to stream? So Sunday was a good day. I streamed the whole 2 hours. It was great. Yesterday I streamed for an hour and a half. I didn't go with 2 hours because I was struggling. I was going to try to make it as close as I could to the 2-hour mark, but I just couldn't. I was like, okay, we're gonna just do more smaller sprints so that I have like a shorter span for like mental focus. Nah, at some point I needed to just quit. I just quit writing. I just could not. And for the last like 3-4 minutes of the sprint, I just looked up some stuff on the internet literally because I just couldn't. I just could not focus. I knew what I wanted to write. I knew what the scene needed to be, but I just couldn't long enough to actually write it. And I knew if I kept going, I was gonna just fall asleep on stream. I didn't want to do that. So we just ended early, and everyone who's been coming to my streams so far has been so nice, especially the YouTube people. I have like a consistent group so far of people that's showing up on YouTube, and it's so great. I love it. They're so nice, and sweet, and I'm just like, oh, thank you. And they were like, yeah, go to sleep. It's important. They're like, we'll see you later, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much. But yeah. So, but I'm getting the words. I'm so close to ending. And I know I said that in the last vlog, and I mentioned something about that on Sunday, but I can see it even more now as I'm like finishing up the scene for like I finished the like pre-battle like meeting the night for the big battle kind of thing. So I think that I'm getting there, and I have a feeling as long as I continue streaming every single day that I plan, dedicated for sure days, I might just finish the book this month. And I'm really excited for that. I'm really happy about that. And I'm already like mentally planning for the next steps of like what do I need to do, what do I want to do kind of thing, which I have already talked about what my few ideas are, and to be done and to have everything set. And I don't know how I'm gonna react if I finish on stream. Like, am I gonna cry? Am I just gonna be like super excited? Like, what's gonna happen? How am I gonna be? But I'm putting the horse in front of the cart still, because I'm not done. I'm only at like 82K, I think. My goal is to get close to 90. If I don't get 90, that's fine. 80K is still good for a fantasy novel, and I know I'm gonna add and take things out when I go edit, because there's like names I don't have for people, phrases that I want to research to see if I use a common phrase for us, or do I use a different kind of phrase. So we'll see. But yeah, I before I got too tired, I was getting some good words in, so we'll see what happens. But I'm here at the house. I need to go in. I will see you guys whenever it is our next update. Right. Bye. Hey guys. So it's editing Dolores. I was trying to edit the clip that I filmed this morning as like an end clip, and I just can't figure out my headphones still, the new Bluetooth ones I got. Because there's so much noise in the back and you can't hear me. So to roughly wrap up what I was saying was that yesterday on Thursday, because it was a holiday here in America, it was Veterans Day, I did a few errands in the morning with my parents, and then I was able to come home early because of the holiday. My mom didn't have to work, so I came home, rested a little bit, and then got on stream early, played some Minecraft, which went really well. I had some people in chat, and then I sprinted for the 2 hours at the end, which was good because originally I was only gonna sprint for 1 hour and then play a game for an hour. So I got to fit in more because I was home longer. So yeah, but it went really good. I got to the beginning of the battle, so we are definitely headed to that downward slope of we're gonna go kill the bad guy kind of thing. So yeah, but that was it for that. Thank you so much for watching my chaotic journey and my chaoticness of storytelling. And what am I saying? I don't remember how I ended my. If you enjoyed this chaotic vlog and my chaos in general, hit subscribe, follow me down in the links down below. I got my Twitch, Instagram, all that fun stuff down below. And thank you so much for watching, like I said earlier. And yeah, hope stories and prosper.